if your team had a galvanizing win, and trust me, I've been there, we get it, you wake up, you hop to the shower, you get in your car, you don't mind the commute. The commute's actually not as arduous as it usually is. You roll into the office, you get the high fives, you think this is the year. Conversely, if your team got crushed at the gun or suffered a litany of penalties or turnovers or just horrendous execution, you wake up and you crawl to the shower and you curse for 2 hours in traffic and you realize that you have a bad team. The answer's probably somewhere in between. That doesn't mean that what the Browns put out there yesterday is not among the most confounding start to a season that I've ever seen.
Especially because it was against the Tennessee Titans, who...
Oh, you know me. I like Tennessee.
Well, I like
don't
Tennessee,
throw me in
too.
that category. I like Tennessee.
But if I was preseason betting which team is more of a playoff contender, it would have been the Browns rather than the Tennessee Titans. We know what their game plan is, the Titans. They're going to run the ball 45 times. Marcus Mariota is going to limitedly throw the ball down the field. If you have his tight end in fantasy, like I do, Delaney Walker, he's going to get most targets. Yeah. He's going to score the touchdowns in the red zone. They just don't take risk, right? And so you look at the two styles of those teams. Mike Vrabel has this really old school, and interestingly, it's existed through different head coaches.
That's an interesting point. I know exactly what you mean.
It's
Munchak, it was the same thing. It was like run the ball, draft offensive lineman.
Pound a guy, draft offensive lineman.
Jumbo package, let's go.
Get a big-ass running back, Derrick Henry, and just run.
Eddie George, Derrick Henry.
It's been that way for the last 15,
except Chris Johnson.
20 years. Chris Johnson was CJ, what did they call him, 2000?
CJ 2K.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it's old school. It's like, that can't work in today's NFL. You can't win against really good teams in the NFL by just, controlling time of possession and grinding out hard yards and changing field position, not always trying to score. Yet here we are looking at them against the Cleveland Browns, and they look like the Pats to the Browns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's only surprising, maybe because of all the hype that we put around not we necessarily, but everyone, including themselves, put around the Browns this offseason, BT. And there's one thing about having good talent. It's another about having good talent that knows how to play together. And I think that's a little bit of what we saw. Freddie Kitchens mentioned this. You said it in our five-star rewind, how, I believe that guys are going to come together, that guys are going to, feel galvanized and run towards one another as opposed to away from one another. But what happens if this type of play, Baker Mayfield, as good as he was last year, throwing 3 picks, and Jarvis Landry having 1 or 2 good plays, but other than that, nothing. Odell Beckham Jr. caught all the balls that came his way, but nothing explosive. He didn't get in the end zone.
Nope.
What happens if this persists and they keep losing, and in 3 weeks, are we saying the same thing? Or is Freddie Kitchens so confident about the same things that they're going to come together? Or will this high, egoed team, which can be a good thing. Yeah. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing. This high egoed team, will it fall apart? That's what you got to be worried about if you're a Browns fan.
I don't have a problem with a high ego team, provided the ego is based in something tangible. Not a reproduction of other people's opinions over the summer. And the Browns didn't even go 500 last year. I mean, listen, we could sit here and just drag poor Browns fans through the sickening, pathetic, disgraceful 50-plus year history. We're not going to do that. We all know the Browns have been a doormat for a long time. So they lost their team, all right? And then they finally came back. But this year, and it might prove to still be different, but it felt so different. The infusion of talent. You had the quarterback. But you really think back about this, and you kind of flip that curtain back. What did we see this summer? Baker Mayfield weighing in on Daniel Jones. Yeah, I know we circled back to it and clarified I didn't really mean this, but he still weighed in on something he did not need to weigh in on. No other NFL quarterback does that, and we said that at the time. Baker Mayfield weighing in on the Giants' poor treatment of Odell Beckham Jr.
The fans.
Yeah, and the fans. Exactly, the fans. The fans. What professional quarterback does that? The answer is none. Odell Beckham Jr., hey, I'll tell you, the Browns, their social social media team, boy, they are creative. You got to love the slow motion catches that we saw this summer, where he jumps up, he catches the football with one hand behind his. I don't even know what is that. I don't even know what that is. It's like something Michael Jordan would do as he's rolling to the rim. He didn't practice much though this summer because of the hip pointer. So you can tell me whatever you want about the Browns. I don't think Freddie Kitchens is the guy for this job. I've intimated that on this show for months. With Tiki, I know that all of these teams, or many of them, are not prepared to play buttoned-up football because of the offseason. I get it. It's a challenge. It's going to be a little bit of sloppy. Yeah. Or you're going to get a little bit of sloppiness. 18 penalties. And you know what's most disconcerting to me? Not just that Baker threw picks, because his accuracy might be his best trait.
You're right.
That he tried to force the ball to Odell Beckham Jr.
That's right.
And we've seen Eli do that, and it never works out.
Didn't I say this
in terms of wins
4 months ago when this trade happened?
First play of the game, he tried to whistle it in there, and he got picked.
5 months ago, I said the same thing about Eli. Eli had a really good season last year, except when he was trying to force the ball to Eli because he throws interceptions. So, look, I understand why Freddie Kitchens got this job. And look, more power to him.
Why did he get the job again? Just remind me.
Because Baker liked him, and he turned that locker room around. It felt like that, and so he's our guy. I mean, I don't even know if they put in an exhaustive search to find anyone else other than him. To be honest with you, right? But my brother always tells me something about coaches because he's around them a lot more than I have been since we both have retired. He said it's one thing to talk to your room. It's one thing to be the running back coach, and there's 5, 6, maybe 7 guys in a room, and talk to them and get them motivated and teach them and get them dialed in. You know every single one of them. You know what makes them tick. You know what makes them go. If one guy has a bad day, you know how to lift him up, etc. You know how to motivate him. Everything. It's another, and it's a big other thing to talk to the entire room, which is 53 guys. Half of their rooms you're not in at all. You don't see them. If you're an offensive guy, you're not even dancing on the defensive side. If you're a defensive minded, you're not even dancing on the offensive side, right? You don't see those guys, but you still have to be able to motivate, direct, and inform them each and every week. And it's hard because there's not enough time. And I'm not talking. This isn't even an offseason question. No, this is a game planning thing. And why are the Pats so good? Because situational football. Right, it's a third and whatever, and right before halftime, we have to do X, Y, and Z in order to get a point. They are buttoned up and practiced it like it's second nature. It's true. It comes second nature to them. This is what young coaches don't have time to do. They don't even know to do it. And so Freddie Kitchens right now is over his head, and it shows itself when you have 18 penalties and you have misexecution. You have guys not on the same page. It's the details matter, right? They can have the best people in the NFL. All 53 of their guys is not going to be it. All 22 of their starters could be all pros, right? If they don't have the right kind of execution on game day, you're never going to win, and that's where they're stuck right now. They have great talent, but the execution's not there, and it showed itself in Week 1.
Oh man, now, of course, I'm going to hate them on Monday night because they're playing my team, and it's a big game for both teams. But I really want to see the Browns do well this year. I really do. I want it for their fans.
I do, too. I like their team. I like the players on their team.
I'm just not a Beckham fan, and I never will be. That's where I think you and I kind of split off a little bit. Yeah. I know he's not a bad guy. I'm not saying he's not Antonio Brown. He's not nothing like that. But he's just too me-oriented. What professional wide receiver wears a $350,000 watch on his wrist during a game?
I mean, I don't know how it doesn't get broken, to be honest with you.
But think about the mindset to do that. You were putting me so clearly before we. I can't respect that.
Well, I mean,
I just can't.
He's of that generation where he thinks it's cool.
Amari Cooper's of that generation, too.
Yeah, but
I know he's not as talented, but he's still Julio Jones of that. He's a couple of years older, Julio Jones. Same generation.
Yeah, but Julio and Amari Cooper, really a lot of NFL stars, they're not caught in the scene.
But I think that's by design. It's not like the scene just says, "Hey, Odell, we're going to swallow you up and ruin your life." He goes to it.
But it's also personality.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? You have to have that personality. And it helps you sometimes on the football field to have that confidence and that, look at me attitude. And so it's who he is. And
Hopkins doesn't have that. Nobody does.
Antonio Brown does.
Except AB.
I mean, there's guys who just don't see it as prominently. There's a lot of them, actually. They're just not, they're not superstars, right? The only reason we pay attention to this is because Odell Beckham Jr. is a superstar, right? He's got more talent than any young wide receiver. At least he did have more talent than any young wide receiver we'd seen in a long time. And so we all know him, and he's done a great job, whether you love it or hate it, of creating a brand for himself. And so it's weird because he almost has to do these type of things because it's his brand. It's weird.
He's got to feed it.
He's got to feed it. That's exactly because he created it. Now he's got to feed it.
Yeah, okay, but say if he doesn't feed it, it's not like who's he going to disappoint?
Nobody.
What's the finality of it?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody.
It's not like if you cut off payments to extended
family
or
maybe Twitter.
Oh
maybe
God,
Twitter,
how are we going to ever recover?
Maybe Twitter
Odell gets off social media.
Instagram will get so disappointed in Odell.
I'm sure some people
he hasn't done anything crazy or worn some wild outfit or wore a $250,000 or $300,000 watch on the game. He hasn't done that in a month.
Opening day.
I'm going to unfollow him now. It's not going to happen.
This is what he does on his first game. His first game in a new city after, and again, great talent. We all know. We don't need to keep prefacing it. Otherworldly talent. We know that. But after his Giants career went sideways. He was a first-round pick who was on a trajectory for absolute superstardom in the best city to be a superstar,
right.
New York.
That's right.
And he forced his way out because he's half a clown. And now you would think that, again, most normal people, not even normal, that's not the right word, most team-oriented people, most people who are more about the room than the locker, than their own stall.
Yeah.
And football, you kind of have to be that way.
You absolutely have to be that way.
This is what he does his first game. Now, again, that's not why they lost, but it's just a little reminder that they're fragile, that they're a very fragile unit.